So recently, we opened up one of our portfolios and you guys saw $2 million in that portfolio. And in that video, we talked about this idea of borrowing against those assets by getting a securities-backed line of credit. Well, we decided not to borrow against those assets, but we decided to not do it for several reasons that are particular to our situation. But this strategy of borrowing against your investment accounts is something that I want to share with you guys, because for some of you, this may be the avenue that you want to pursue instead of selling those assets in order to make a big purchase. You see, because if you have made a lot of money in the stock market like we have, if you go to sell your stocks, your bonds, your index funds, your ETFs, you will be paying capital gains tax on those investments. But there is a way to avoid paying those taxes by taking out a loan against those assets instead. Now, if you've never heard of this before, it's similar to what a home equity line of credit is, where you have an asset like a house, for example, and you borrow against the equity in your home in order to make another purchase, in order to do upgrades, take a vacation, pay off debt. Whatever the case may be, if you own a home and you have equity in that home, you can get a home equity line of credit, or you can do a cash out refinance. Well, there's also another way to borrow against your assets, and it is against your investment assets in the stock market. So if you have a regular brokerage account, there is a way that you can borrow from those brokerage accounts. And this is something that Christina and I recently explored, because we are considering buying another house here in Portugal, and we are looking at different ways to finance that purchase instead of paying cash. Now, in the past, what we would do is we would sell some of our assets in order to make a big purchase. But our stocks, ETFs, and index funds have appreciated significantly to the point that if we sold them now, we would be hit with a hefty tax bill. And so one of the things that we have been considering is getting a line of credit against our investment portfolios. And so I want to talk to you guys a bit about this strategy, because lots of wealthy people use this strategy every single day to pay for their costs of living. But before I go any further, I want to back up a little bit to talk about a strategy called buy, borrow, and die. If you've never heard of this, it's something that wealthy people have done for generations and generations in order to avoid paying taxes on all of their assets. So on their homes, on their brokerage accounts, on the artwork or memorabilia, whatever asset that they have bought at one price that has appreciated, in order to avoid paying taxes on that asset that they have bought, instead of selling it, they borrow against those assets. Now, in lots of cases, the borrowing that they're doing against those assets, they are actually borrowing to invest in other assets to continue to grow their wealth. And what eventually happens, and this is the most powerful part of this whole strategy, is that when that wealthy person passes away, they pass those assets on to their heirs. And because of the tax code, their heirs get a new step up in basis and don't have to pay taxes on that inherited asset.